time out of your day to attend this meeting, and I hope that this webinar will help you learn more about your club secretary responsibilities. And yeah, my name is Angela Wynn, and I'm the district club secretary. And this will, you cannot like have your camera on or like have your, not have your camera on or your voice on, but you can ask me questions in the chat box and also the Q&A option, and there will be a moderator answering your questions. And we'll also have a question section at the end, and there will also be an attendance QR code at the end, so please make sure that you stay for that. So we're gonna be starting now. And you can also take notes during this meeting, so please make sure you have your materials for that if you would like to do so. Okay. So first, to go over the duties of a club secretary, which is basically going to be what this meeting will be about. So the first one is to keep the officer information form and reports updated, be prompt, organized, and efficient, take roll and minutes at the meetings, track service projects and the point system through Excel or Google Sheets, then maintain a roster of dues paid members, assist the club president with needed tasks such as planning club and board meetings, attend key club activities such as meetings, KCKC, Springs and Rally, and Decon, and finally, work with the online product report system. Okay, so first we're going to be going into the different type of reports that you will need to complete as a club secretary. So the first one, which you should know about, is the online product report. And this is a monthly report that informs your lieutenant governor about your club meetings, projects, and activities. So this is a really important report because it allows your lieutenant governor to see what your club does and how they can be able to help you throughout the month. And it also records what your club has been doing for the district, and is very important when it comes to the award season at Decon. Next is the officer information form, which provides contact information for your lieutenant governor. And once again, if you haven't completed this, please make sure that you do so. And you can also update it throughout the year with updated information for your advisors or your officers. The next one is the annual achievement report, which is the required application for Distinguished Club Award and Club of the Year. And this is also very important when it comes to the award season because it shows all the service projects that your club has done throughout the month and your meetings. And overall, it just helps the district evaluate the awards. So please make sure that you put your time into this when you're doing it. And then finally, the last type of report is the school-related reports. So these are any like reports for your bookkeeper. And I know a lot of clubs have to do this when it comes to taking money out of their key club's bank. So please make sure that you do these reports and fill them out correctly for your school. Okay. Oh, whoops. Okay. The next slide will be about taking minutes at meetings. So meeting minutes are a brief description of what was discussed and achieved at the meeting. And something helpful is to have an agenda for each meeting that you have so that you can easily take the meeting minutes along with the agenda. And basically, it's really helpful because they help the members and officers keep up and keep track of what happened at the meeting. So for example, if an officer wants to refer to the past month and to see what progress they made and what progress they should make in the next month. And also they're really important because if officers cannot attend a meeting, they can always look at the meeting minutes and see what they missed. And there's a meeting minutes template on the Florida Key Club website. So if you go to floridakeyclub.org, then documents and resources, and then club secretaries, there'll be a template there. And under the same section, there's also a lot of other resources that you can use as a club secretary. Okay. Next will be attendance at meetings and events. So for every meeting and event that you have, please make sure that you're recording the members that are attending, whether it be through a sign-in sheet or a QR code. I know for some clubs, they like to use a QR code, especially since this year we'll be doing a lot of things virtually. So it might be really helpful to have like a QR code, whether on your presentation or any service project that you have, just so that it's like contactless. Next for this is to use it for membership requirements in the product reports. So something helpful to have is an hour requirement to go along with like your meetings and events, because it can help promote activity within your club and also make sure that everyone is going to the service projects and meetings. Next is assigning guests at club board meetings and events. And by guests, I mean Kiwanians, school administrators, or any guest speakers that you may have. And then you can also record these guests on the pride reports. Okay. So this is a sample tracker of how you can keep all of your hours or points recorded. So as you can see, we have like a name section and then different types of service projects. And then at the end, a monthly total and the overall total. And also there are different sheets for every single month that you can do. So this is just an example, and obviously you can do whatever works best for your club, but this is a good system to track your points because I know it can get really confusing with having all the point logs. So this way you'll be able to see all the points that you need to do. So yes, let's see. Okay. Then the next section will be about implementing a point system. So this is going along with recording your hours and points. So this can be used to set a standard for involvement and dedication. Once again, promoting activity within your members, increasing cooperation in your club, fostering club spirit, promoting a competitive atmosphere to promote growth and involvement. And something that you can do with your point system is set like a minimum requirement. So they have to have a minimum requirement of points to be able to attend socials or decon. Then next is increasing participation on an individual or grade level basis and providing more flexibility and choices to members, and overall be fun. So your point system can, Your point system can be whatever works for your club. So this is just an example of what you can do. But for example, attending a service project could be 10 points, attending board meetings or club meetings could be 5 points, attending Kiwanis family events could be 8 points, divisional events 15 points, district events 25 points, and social events 5 points. So once again, this is whatever works for your club. So overall, just make sure that whatever point system or hour system that you implement makes sense and that your members are aware of it. And the difference between the point system and the hour system is that a point system accounts more for activities that aren't service hours. So for example, socials and board meetings, whereas an hour system can be kind of confusing since obviously there's service hours and hours not related to service, such as the meetings and the socials I was talking about. So yeah, that's the benefits of having a point system. Okay. We've touched on the awards a little bit, but once again, please don't forget to apply for awards such as Distinguished Club Secretary or Distinguished Club. As a club secretary, you're doing so much work, and you just want to make sure that you're recognized for all the work that you have done. And to be a Distinguished Club Secretary, you must complete service hours, submit the project reports, and overall be a good member and a member in good standing. And they look great on college applications. And the awards have not opened yet, but they will be opening closer to decon, and more information will be released closer to that date. And if you have any questions, you can always contact the awards committee at awards@floridakeyclub.org. Okay. Next. Oh, wait. Okay. Okay. Next is the community system, which is where we're going to be completing the project reports and the officer information forms. So first, to access the community system, you're going to go to the Florida Key Club website and click on the community tab. And you can also type in the website link, which is member.floridakeyclub.org. And the community system is different from the online project report system last year because it's on a new platform. So yeah, it has the name of community this time. Okay. Then to log in, you type in your email and password, of course, and if your club advisor has not reset their account yet, they can click the forgot password button. And we're going to be going over how to get into the community system if you're not able to yet. Okay. So each club advisor should be able to log in with their email and password, and they can also add the club secretary as a user. And then from there, you can create your own password. And if you and your advisor cannot log into community, you can always email the district technical assistant at tech@floridakeyclub.org. Okay. Then to add a user, you would go to the users tab and click add new. And then from here, you can click out, you can fill out the required fields such as first name, last name, email, and password, and also the role. So the role will be either club admin or, be like club admin. So You just want to make sure that your advisor is putting in the right, right information for you. And once again, if you have trouble adding a user or creating an account, you can always contact me at secretary@floridaKeyClub.org. Okay. Next is filling out the officer information form. Oh, okay. So officer information forms are updated through the new community system. And for each one, please make sure that you fill out the name, email and phone number, and club Instagram and website if applicable. And one thing to note is that for if your club has 2 vice presidents or 2 presidents, only the primary president will be able to apply for awards. So so not both. So make sure that you're putting in the correct primary president and vice president into the officer information form. Okay. And then in order to submit the form, you don't have to fill out all of the information, but you should put in as much information as you can so that your lieutenant governor can have as much information to be able to contact your club. And also throughout the year, please remember to update the officer information form if the contacts change. Okay. Then to submit the officer information form, at the top you'll see a save button, and from there the officer information form will be submitted. And once again, they can be updated after submission, so please update them throughout the year. Okay. Next is the prior reports. So these are due the 10th of every following month. So for example, the November prior report is due on December 10th. And then one exception is that the February prior report is due March 5th due to decon and awards. And you will be reminded about this date later on. So yeah. Okay. So for the prior reports, you will go to the prior reports tab on the community system. And then from here, you will go under your club and be able to edit every single month and by clicking the blue box. And then the first part of the prior report is evaluating your lieutenant governor. So some questions that we have are, how has your lieutenant governor contacted your club this month? Did your club receive a monthly electronic bulletin? Suggestions, number of paid members who participated. So by this, it's the amount of members that participate in your meetings, projects, and socials. So please make sure that you're putting in an accurate amount here. And then your general comments. And for every part of the prior report, please make sure you're putting accurate and well filled out information so that your lieutenant governor can help your club in any way that they can. And overall, it provides a lot more information about how they can be a resource to you throughout the year, and also for decon awards for the district. Okay. Next is the meeting information. So you'll be able to put in the type of meeting, your number of members present, the date, and then whether your Kiwanis advisor, faculty advisor, or a guest was present, and then comments about your meetings. And there are also different meeting types which we will be going over next. Oh, whoops. Okay, so the types of meeting are club meeting, club board meeting, club social, DCM, KCKC, Spring Zone Rally, district board meeting, K-Kids, Builders Club, Circle K, Action meeting, and Kiwanis meeting. And these all fall under the Kiwanis family branch. Okay. Next are information for projects. So please make sure you fill out all of the required fields, and they're categorized into 3 different types of projects. But to go over this section right here, we have a section for the governor's projects, which we'll be going over later as well. Also, you can fill out the date, number of members present, and the total hours performed, and also a description and additional comments. And as I said before, make sure that you're filling out these fields as best as you can to provide more information for your lieutenant governor. Okay, so these are the different project types. So the project types were these right here. Okay. So the first one is a hands-on project, which is where members are working actively to help the community. And some examples are cleaning classrooms or a beach cleanup. The other one is a donation drive, which is where members collect items for a charitable cause. So a book drive or a food drive. And then the last one is a charity fundraiser where members fundraise money to donate to a charitable cause, such as Trick or Treat for UNICEF. Okay. And then within the online prior report, there is now the option to have a multi-day project. So before, for projects that happened repeatedly throughout the month, you would have to repeat the process of filling it out. But this time, you can add project dates with this button, and then there'll be a line for more days, members, and hours, so that's easier to keep track of your projects. So please make sure to use this button if needed for your projects. Okay. Then finally, to submit and complete your prior report, you will either click the Save for Later or Submit button. And for the Save for Later button, it will not be submitted by the 10th, even if it's saved. So please make sure that you click the Submit button by the 10th to correctly submit your prior report. Okay. Now we're going to be going over the Governor's Project, which is Keys for Kids, and the slogan is Unlocking a Better Future. So KEY stands for Kindness to Kids, Empowering Future Leaders, Youth Connections, supporting children in need. So yes, this is on the Key Club website, but I'll just be going over it very quickly so you can get a better idea of what the Governor's Project is. And also within the prior report, there's the option to click the governor's projects within your service projects. So if your service projects do relate to the governor's project, please make sure that you click that button. So some example service projects for Keys for Kids include making a high school survival kit, posting sticky notes on students' lockers, mental awareness posters, letters to younger students, a chalk up with motivational messages, projects done with Kiwanis Kids or Builders Club, mentorship programs with the Kiwanis branches, which are Kiwanis Kids and Builders Club, care packages for underprivileged children, meaningful celebrations for foster children in your area, leadership workshops, and blankets for local children's hospitals. But these are just some ideas, so if your club does other service projects that relates to the Governor's Project, please make sure that you include that in your prior report. Okay. Next, we're going to be going over what is a service hour. So a service hour is something that improves the community, and it's the actual time spent on working or collecting items for a drive, or it can be the time spent at divisional, district, and international events. And so when reporting these hours on the prior reports, only hours that are for Key Club can be recorded and no outside hours. So for example, if you volunteer in your free time, but it's not a Key Club related service project, then you cannot include that on the prior report as a service project. And yes, for the service hours, they're the actual time spent working on the service project. So for example, like planning and driving to a service project, but it cannot count for donating goods. So if you donate 1 can of food, it's not equal to 1 hour. Okay. And going over it again, so it's the time work to collect, count, and package or deliver the objects, and they're not based on the items provided or donated. So examples of accurate service hours are projects that are pre-approved or organized by an individual Key Club, projects that improve the community, and the time spent working on book drives, food drives, or other drive benefiting others. And something to note is that it's important to submit accurate service hours within your online prior report, because obviously 500 service hours per member is not very likely at all. And for Decon Awards, it's really important that we see an accurate amount of service hours submitted. So please make sure that you are doing so. Okay. Next, some other examples of a service hour include serving as a host club at a zone or district event, attending conferences or conventions, or the time spent working at conventions and conferences, not the time spent attending, the time spent planning a service project, and the time spent participating in service projects. Okay. So for some important reminders, online prior reports are due on the 10th of every following month. So for example, as I said before, the November prior report would be due the 10th of December. Work closely with your club president and faculty advisors. Attend divisional, zone, and district events. Contact your lieutenant governor or district secretary if you have any questions or clubs. any questions or concerns. And as a club secretary, you are the backbone of your club, so please make sure that you're completing your responsibilities well and making sure that everyone in your club has the resources that they need. Okay. And now we're going to be going over into some helpful resources. So, okay. So the first one is my monthly club secretary newsletter, and this is the September one. So as you can see, it provides a lot of information that you'll need throughout the month and basically puts all the information that you need in one spot. So as you can see for September, I have a monthly blurb for every single month, the service and quarantine guide, some service project ideas, the Keys to Your Future workshop that happened last week, the club officer webinars, how to host virtual elections, virtual election tips, OIF submissions, and other important information. So I'll be scrolling through this so you can see what the newsletter looks like. So you can see important reminders for this month. And then we're going to be going over the service and quarantine guide next. But yeah, this is just what the newsletter looks like. And for this newsletter, I update the contacts every month from the officer information forms. So if you have not received this newsletter, please make sure that you put in the correct email into the officer information form. And you can also email me if you haven't been receiving them, just so that I can send you them. And if you haven't received them, you can also contact your lieutenant governor. But this will serve as a very helpful resource throughout the month. And please make sure that you refer to it if you have any issues. Okay. Next is the Key Club in Quarantine Guide. So as you can see, this is what the Key Club in Quarantine Guide looks like. And the executive committee worked very hard to make sure that it provides a lot of information for your club. And basically this guide was created because we understand how difficult it has been due to the coronavirus. And we want to make sure that your club has all the resources that it needs to be active during this next year and to also be able to plan all of your service projects and meetings accordingly. Okay. So this guide includes service projects, information about officer and club meetings, bonding, meeting platforms, fundraisers, and recruitment. So first is Governor Joey's opening letter, the importance of having Key Club in quarantine, and then the service projects, which we'll be going over right now. So we've categorized them into different types of projects, so your club can kind of choose which ones they would like to do. So we're just going to be going over the examples very quickly, but one could be making masks, chalk the driveway, food drives. And then for the elderly, you could plan a card or pen pal campaign for nursing homes, also letters. And then for the youth, which relates to the governor's project, creating book recordings that children could listen to when they're staying at home, online tutoring to provide tutoring for middle school and elementary school students, because as we know, a lot of elementary school and middle school students aren't able to get tutoring after school with the transition to virtual school. So this could be a very helpful service project for a Key Club to do. Creating videos, advice for freshmen, posters about mental health or having a mental health speaker, creating bookmarks and posters, goodie bags, and also having an online mentorship program for K-Kids or Builders Club. Then next for teachers, creating thank you videos. And this one I thought was a very unique and important service project overall, but having a tech support system for your teachers, because a lot of teachers are having issues with transitioning to the online platforms. So it might be very helpful for having a few Key Clubbers always available to help any teachers in your school. An appreciation collage, a welcome basket. And then for the workforce, having a virtual babysitting program, sending essentials to healthcare workers, making signs in appreciation, letters for mail workers. And we also have various other service project ideas here. So these are from different organizations that your Key Club could participate in. Yes, and then we have how to promote member involvement in your service projects. So this is overall very important for your service projects because as we know right now, keeping Key Clubs active is very important, and service is more important now than ever. So you want to make sure that your members are being active within your club and are still looking forward to Key Club even though a lot of things are going online. So these are some things that you can ask yourself and evaluate your club to see how you can better serve your members and make them more interested in your club's activities. And then some ideas to promote the members' role is to have member-led committees, and some of these committees could be for the Governor's Project, UNICEF, Decon Awards, etc., and basically whatever your club would like to do. Your club can also appoint class directors to promote their role, and basically class directors are directors for each grade level, and they basically promote activity and check in with the members to make sure that they know about the service projects and are aware of how they can participate in Key Club this next year. Give members opportunity to lead small-scale service projects. Plan socials so that your members will be more enthusiastic about attending. And then have an award or point system for your members, which we talked about a little bit earlier. Okay. The next part of the Key Club in Quarantine Guide is how to hold officer meetings within quarantine. So these are the examples. And then we also have how to hold club meetings in quarantine. So examples could be virtual, and then also virtual and social distancing by sitting 6 feet apart. And also some ideas for having meetings to have parent meetings, which can encourage parents and their students to be active within the Key Club, service activity meetings to give service project ideas, and also to do service projects together. Interest meetings to recruit more members, which is especially important since school has just started. And obviously with Key Clubs, we want to be gaining members, not losing them. So you can coordinate something within your school to provide freshmen and other grade levels the information they need to understand how they can join Key Club and the benefits of joining Key Club. And also finally, informational meetings. And overall for board meetings and club meetings, I would recommend to have at least 1 or 2 meetings per month, just so that your members will stay active and know what is happening every month with service projects. And then furthermore with the topics, so you could talk about service, Kiwanis family, the divisional events such as attending DCMs, leadership, and your club goals. Okay. And then for having bonding activities within your meetings, you could play 2 Truths, 1 Lie, scavenger hunt, this or that, name a place, animal, or thing. And these are just all some ideas. So please feel free to be creative with your meetings. And these are really important because they help make sure that your members are paying attention, that they're really interested in the meeting. So please make sure to implement a social activity or bonding within every meeting that you have. And these are also some online games, and I've seen many Kahoot ones in meetings, and I've seen that a lot of members like them. So this is one I would especially recommend. And then bingo, trivia, there's a lot more. And these are just some more bonding activities that you can do. And this is an example of a social distancing meeting for staying 6 feet apart. And then these are just platforms that your club could use. So Skype, Google Meets, Google Hangouts, Jitsi Meet, and obviously Zoom. And here are some tips on how to use Zoom and how to make sure that your club is organizing an easy meeting for all your members to attend. And then here are some fundraiser ideas. So these were made by the district treasurer. So for some examples included having a bingo night, a donation and envelope box, a virtual trivia night, a movie night, discussion or TikTok style event, a mindful meditation night, a GoFundMe page, a phone-a-thon, a social media campaign, and a birthday fundraiser. And with the money that you fundraise, here are some organizations that you could donate to. So the Florida Key Club Endowment Fund, which provides money back to you through scholarships. The Eliminate Project, and the major emphasis and preferred charities, which are listed here. And with the Eliminate Project, the Florida District is currently working to fight against maternal neonatal tetanus and trick or treat for UNICEF. So this is a very important project as well. And then, as I said before, with recruitment and the importance of it, you can do this through social media platforms, reaching out to 8th graders, 9th graders, and other grade levels, having a poster recruitment contest, promoting them with the parents and having, as I said before, a meeting with parents, holding a visitors day about what Key Club is, creating promotional videos for Key Club, and finally having a Google form or newsletter. Oh, and also emailing the activities coordinator so they can promote Key Club activities on the school website and emails if possible. A virtual service fair, a Big and Little K, which is a mentorship program between the upperclassmen and underclassmen in Key Club. And then also having incentives to do service project hours from home and the importance of joining Key Club. So this is just a very comprehensive guide of how your club can be better active this year and how they can serve under quarantine. And this is listed under the club secretary newsletter right here. And it's also, your lieutenant governor should have the link to this guide. So if you haven't seen it already and you want to read it further in detail, please make sure to contact your lieutenant governor, or you can also email me at secretary@florida.org. Okay, the next. Okay. Next, as I said before, you can always contact your lieutenant governor or me at secretary@floridakeyclub.org, or our district webmaster if you're having issues with going into the community system at tech@floridakeyclub.org. And also before the question and answer section, we have this QR code, which is for the attendance. And one of our moderators should be sending out the link to the Google form in the chat, so you can look out for that as well. But before you leave this meeting, please make sure that you sign in so that you can be recorded for attending this event. So I'll leave this QR code up for about 2 or 3 minutes. But basically, you can take a picture with your phone and it'll show the link right after. Okay. Okay, I'll leave it up for 1 more minute if anyone still needs to get the code. Okay. Now we're going to be going over our question and answer section. So let me exit out of this so I can view. Wait. Okay. Okay. So we're going over the questions now. Okay, so the first question is, where can the officer information forms be accessed so that we can add to them? So I can go through this again really quickly so you can see. But for the officer information forms, you can access them through the community website, which you can find at floridakeyclub.org, and I can text the link in the group chat. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. So member.floridakeyclub.org. Okay. So that is the website link. And basically from there, you'll be able to have the officer information form tab. And once you click on that, you can click edit and you'll be able to fill out any of the officer information there. And then the next one was website. Okay. So how is it determined if officer gets awards? So when it gets closer to the awards season, the awards documents and Google Forms will be released. But basically, they're determined on the activity that you do as an officer, whether it be in your participation in service projects, planning meetings, and overall all of your club activities. And yeah, it's basically determined from that Google form. So you want to make sure that you're putting as much information as you can in there so that you can provide a good description of what you've done this year so that the awards committee can correctly evaluate you. Okay. How will we host socials if it's all on Zoom? Okay. So for socials on Zoom, as I said before, there are a lot of different service projects that you can do together as a club through Zoom. So something fun to do is creating letters together all on through Zoom, and also having icebreakers. So this was in the service and quarantine guide, but just to restate some icebreaker ideas, you could have a bingo night, you could do Kahoots, you could do Two Truths, One Lie. There are a lot of different things that you can do, but overall, you just want to make sure that whatever you do as a social is engaging to its members. And also socials are very nice because it allows the new members to get to be able to know the other members and be able to make friends through Key Club. And one other social idea that a lot of clubs are also doing is having a movie night. And for Zoom, there was more information on the Key Club and Quarantine guide, but basically you'll set up the meeting and then communicate with all of your members to make sure that they have the link and that they're able to access it. And then also I recommend making sure that everything is prepared well beforehand so that all of the members can enjoy the meeting well. Okay. What was the QR code again? I'll put up the QR code again for you. Wait. Okay. Okay, this is the QR code again for the person who needed it. And then it also should have been typed in the chat, so you'll be able to access it there. Okay. Okay, and then hopefully you're able to get it then, but if not, it is in the chat box, so please make sure that you get that. Okay. Then do you record this meeting in the project reports? This is an officer training meeting, and I guess, well, typically only the officers in your club would be attending these webinars, but you can include them in your project report to note that you have attended these meetings. What are mandatory events, due dates to add on the calendar for the chapters? Okay, so I would suggest adding events such as KCKC, Springs and Rally, and DCON to the mandatory, well, not mandatory events, or to your calendar. But for mandatory events, some things can include your club meetings for your members, and also attending divisional council meetings for your officers. Okay. Next question, our club has never had a social, and what does that entail? I kind of answered this question before, and obviously the circumstances are very different this year, but overall you just want to be making sure that your social is very engaging for its members and that everyone has the access to be able to attend it. Yes, and since they're through Zoom, you want to make sure that the virtual activities can be done very easily. And always please refer to the service and quarantine guide. Next, for people who didn't receive the secretary newsletter, please email me at secretary@florakeyclub.org, and also make sure that your officer information form has the correct information so that I can email it to you. And also, if you also with the secretary newsletters, something is that it might be going to your spam mailbox. So if it is, please check your spam. And yes. Next one is, what are some initiatives besides what was stated in the quarantine document to take during the pandemic? Okay, let's see. Oh, wait. Okay, so for this question, as stated before, you just want to be making sure that you're doing as many service projects as you can. And I would recommend at least doing one service project per month so that your members have at least one service opportunity. But to go beyond that, I would recommend having quite a few more service projects per month for your members. And going beyond what was stated in the quarantine document, you could have bi-monthly socials, bi-monthly meetings. There's really no limits to what you can do. So just whatever works for your club and whatever can aid your members the best is what I would say for that one. Okay. Let's see. Can you please go over the point system again very briefly? And yes, I can. I'll pull up the presentation. Okay. Let's see. Wait, it's right here. Okay, so wait, the points. Okay, point system right here. Okay, so once again, the point system is a way for your club to set a standard for involvement and dedication, and also a member requirement for your hours. It increases cooperation and competitiveness within your club and fosters club spirit. And for each club, you can have a different point system. It just depends on what your club wants and what works well for you. So you can assign minimum requirements for points and various point values. Okay. So an example of a point system is having 10 points for service projects, 5 points for club and board meetings, 8 points for Kiwanis family events, 15 points for divisional events, 25 points for district events, and 5 points for social events. And once again, to reiterate, what is the difference between a point system and an hour system? With the point system, you're able to provide a more accurate counting system for your attendance for your activity within the members. So for example, you're able to count club meetings and divisional events and also socials, which are very important as members to attend, obviously, to increase activity and increase the livelihood of your club. But with having an hour system, the difference is that an hour system typically only counts service hours. So that might discourage or discourage members from being able to attend socials and the meetings. So this is why we would recommend a point system, but overall, whatever works best for your club. And then to go over what a sample tracking document would look like, you could put your points here and have a monthly total and overall total and have different sections for each month so that you can see, so that you can correctly put in your information for the online pride reports. Okay. Then for the next question. My club isn't chartered yet. Is there a deadline for us to get chartered so that we can still qualify for awards? We're planning to get in a couple weeks. Okay, so if your club is not chartered yet, there is not a deadline. We will understand that your club was chartered later in the year, so you don't have to worry about not being able to apply for awards. Just make sure that when you do get chartered, your officers are doing all the required responsibilities and you're being an active club overall, and you should be able to apply for awards. How do you suggest doing an interest meeting? My Key Club is having trouble letting people know that Key Club is a club at our school, and how should we recruit the new members? Okay, so something you can do is create a promotional a graphic for your school's newsletter, whether it be through email or actual mail. Also, I know that a lot of schools are using Canvas or Microsoft Teams, and typically for a school, you can put a reminder at the top page. So for example, you could get a message approved by Key Club so that whenever students open their Canvas or Microsoft Teams or whatever platform you use for school, they'll be able to see the message for Key Club. And with this, once you get your message out about Key Club, you can also promote it through social media, and also maybe your student government can assist in this process as well. And after you promote the interest meeting, you can be able to plan the meeting accordingly and make sure that it provides a lot of good information for your Key Clubbers so that they're very interested in joining. Let me see the last section of that question. Let's see. And then for recruiting new members, you just want to make sure that the interest meeting obviously provides a lot of information about why they should join Key Club. So some examples to talk about is the service projects in your school, the importance of service right now, because service obviously is more important now than ever with everything going on, but it's also very difficult to do right now. So Key Club kind of provides an opportunity for an opportunity for high school students to be able to do service within their school. It also provides an opportunity for them to participate in a leadership activity. They can run for a club officer during their year, a district board position, international position. There's really no limits on what a club member can be able to do within Key Club. So yes, it provides a lot of opportunities for students. Are we required to have a point system, or is it optional? You are not required to have a point system. You can do an hour system if you would like. The overall thing is just that a point system might be more helpful when counting counting the participation within your club, but yes, it is optional. Could you clarify if going to DCMs, KCKC, or any other meetings count as service hours? So attending meetings does not count for a service hour because a service hour is the amount of time spent working or planning a service project. But for the time spent, like the time spent actually planning a meeting, that could count as a service hour. But attending a meeting does not count as a service hour. Okay. What is a good way to get projects rolling if you see that one would be great? For example, I want to do a food drive at my school and I know that I would need to see my advisor. How could I help them? Okay, so you can set up a virtual meeting with your advisor, talking about the logistics of the food drive and making sure that it's able to do within your school or wherever you're setting up the food drive boxes. Something you can also do with a food drive is having boxes at different local businesses and restaurants to promote the donations within your food drive. And overall, to have a successful service project, you want to make sure that it's very organized and that your members have a clear idea of what's happening and the deadlines. So once again, as I said with the meetings and promotions, you want to make sure that you're putting out the materials and promotions necessary so that all your club members are aware of things that they can do within your club. Should we add the trainings? We should add the, should we add the trainings or is it mandatory? I'm assuming this means for your club officers. I mean, technically it's not mandatory to attend these club trainings, but they should be. So please make sure that your club officers are so they know their responsibilities well and that they can succeed throughout this next year. I have an idea about bringing a Salvation Army Angel Tree program at my school's Key Club, but I don't know how to do it in the pandemic. How should I do so? Okay, so the first step I would say for this is contacting your officers and providing the idea and explaining why you want to do the service project. And then brainstorming with your other officers and your advisor just to see how your club would be able to do it. Because I know there's restrictions with some clubs with their county, so you just want to make sure that everything you're doing is allowed. But for the Angel Tree project, this kind of goes with the food drive, but you could set up boxes around your school, local restaurants and businesses, and overall promoting the donation so that people are interested in donating. So that's one thing you could do, but mainly communicate with your club officers and advisor. And in general, with any service projects, if you have any further inquiries, I can always answer through email, and also Lieutenant Governor can help as well. Okay, let's see. Does anyone have any other questions? Let's see. Okay, if no one has any other questions, thank you for attending this meeting and taking the time out of your day to learn more about your club secretary responsibilities. And I hope that this webinar helped you learn more about how to be a better club secretary through this year and the resources that we have to help you and your club succeed. And if you don't, and once again, if you haven't received the club secretary newsletter or you need the link to the the quarantine Key Club and quarantine guide, you can always email me and at secretary@keyclub.org, and I'll type in my email in the chat as well. And you can always contact your lieutenant governor or really anyone on the executive committee. We just want to make sure that as a club, you have all the resources that you need throughout this year. So yeah, thank you. Oh wait, one last question actually. If we can't hold a meeting or project in a month, what do we do with the pride reports? If you aren't able to hold one, you can explain, I guess,